welcome to Reality After Show coverage of House of Villains Season 2, Episode 6. That's right, folks. We are 6 episodes into this thing, and it is Thursday night. Woo! 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We are loving this. This is what we do at this time. I got my place all lit up. It's looks beautiful in here. I am joined, as always, by the one and only Jenn Hoffman. What's up, Jenn Hoffman?
Hi, I was scratching my head and I'm like, wait, episode 6 and there's like 200 villains left. There's 9, but there's so many people left. So
Yes.
A lot to get into. It was a fun episode. I know you were waiting for your Donna Martin graduates.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you got that. And you do have great lighting in there with the pinballs and stuff. I feel like my extreme ring light and unicorns don't quite match up, but I'll deal.
Hey, we're not casting shade because it's late at night, 11 p.m. Oh my God, how am I still awake? Oh, I know why. Because I'm Jonny Fairplay, and when I watch House of Villains, it's just the wake up boost I'm looking for. Maybe a little coffee is helping as well. But yeah, I thought this was. I have this in my notes later. There will absolutely, positively be no group text chat from season 2. Like season 1, we're all in this group chat except for Jax. Jax left, but we're all in this group chat. We all talk. We all love, seeing still talking to each other, still, encouraging one another for, the events that we have, the shows that we get, when we see our pictures on the walls and whatever on this season. And, but yeah, season 2, not so much. There's no way.
It doesn't seem like it. I will say a little like reality TV inside baseball for most people is on a lot of shows, even if you have more mortal enemies, people who are trying to get you off the show, who hate you, somehow like when it's all over, you're bonded, almost like trauma bonded. I don't want to compare it exactly to war because it's offensive to actual veterans, but I will say the media version of war, which is like intense. So you come out bonded and then it's like almost all is forgiven and forgotten. You become friends, 20 years go by, you can still be friends with somebody who hated you, said the worst things about you, was gunning for you the whole time, robbed you of like, a big prize, and you become friends. And I hadn't really thought about that because I'm so used to people recovering from it, but I think you might be right. I think on this one, it's just between the cast and the level of animosity and turning on each other and everything. I don't know if there'll be a group chat. I don't know if if anybody will be talking to anyone by the end of this.
Well, even when people put stuff aside for minutes, like we saw Victoria and Larsa, toward the tail end of the episode, like literally just put the game down for like 2 minutes, just for human civility. New York's like, nope, we can't do that.
Yeah. And well, it's like knowing that these people are so easily triggered too. It's an interesting combination because you have like people like New York who since the beginning have been playing the show correctly, pulling the FU button, pushing the FU button, and when things are quiet, and everyone, I have something to say, I want to change my room, just every opportunity taking it to produce great TV for us. You also gave her an extra golden opportunity because like the sensitivity of or strength of someone's like ability just to chill out for a minute or not immediately be swayed into craziness is so delicate.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's the sway equilibrium does not exist with this cast, and I think that's what makes this for just such an enjoyable season. I mean, once again, people are just like, I'm getting the calls every week. They're like, Fairplay, are you watching season 2? And I'm like, of course, I'm doing a podcast. You need to press that like and subscribe button at youtube.com/aftershow, or if you're listening audio wise, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Reality After Show, there it is, our Villains podcast. Yes, I'm watching it. Yes, it's different. And I didn't want to see the same show. Like, if it's the same show, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes this so great And it's like a little bit unlike something like Traders, where they get reality. It's still like this format. And even though you see something different and there's shocking twists and different strategies, this is so personality driven
Yes.
that you will get a completely different show based on not just like it's the cumulative personalities plus the specific people, like bringing New York back, who now has done it once. I think the fact that she's done it once and gets it has been so helpful and instrumental in her knowing how to play everyone, because she's already New York, but now it's like with extra information and know-how.
Yeah.
And it's fun. She's not being the same at all as she was on the last one. And it's like a completely different show, but still has all the elements you love
Yeah.
of, yours was this show is a show that seems more strategic because people are talking, everyone's talking strategy, but they're less strategic. Whereas
Yes.
yours, you really had some like real like OG gamers, you bananas, Omarosa, that were actually really strategic, but were able to most of the time control your emotions. Where it's like this one is like, it's like a Jerry Springer show meets House of Villains.
Yeah, no, season one. I think there's plenty of people on season one cast that probably would admit this, but if I were to take a step outside of myself and just look at it and really put the pieces together, and pieces being the operative word there, it is literally a game of myself, Johnny Bananas, and Omarosa moving our chess pieces.
Moving pieces around. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, both seasons are so good, but I agree with you that they're really good also because they're really different.
Yeah. So, but all right. So, well, here we are previously on, and basically it all comes down to Victoria, Camilla, and Teresa are on the hit list. So it is the night of day 8, and Victoria is a little upset because she realizes, her words, that Larsa is digmatized by anyone with a dick and will never be there for the women. And I was like, I have never heard the term digmatized. I feel like it's a t-shirt waiting to happen.
Dickmatized. Yeah, dick drunk, dickmatized. I have that as my second note. Is dickmatized. Yes. Well, now we have Larsa as a supervillain. And basically they walk out. She acts super villainy, puts up people she knows she's going to upset, and then
Yeah.
is like, "What are you talking? Why are you upset?" To her best friend in the house and housewife Teresa, to
Yeah.
Camilla, who's been saying how bad she needs the money and thought that she was close with Larsa,
Yeah.
and then to Victoria, who's going to go off no matter what's going to happen.
Well, Victoria, who did go to Larsa's dog birthday party.
Oh, yes. We can get into the politics of that a little bit more. But yeah, that was a big
Yeah.
invitation. And apparently, Larsa doesn't respect Victoria very much after her appearance there. God, the ruthlessness too, like saying that that Larsa's dog party is probably better than any birthday party Victoria's ever even had. It's just ruthless.
We don't know that for sure, but we do have confirmation it is better than any party Candy ever had.
Yeah, Candy admits it. Candy comes out and says it with Victoria. I thought that was really funny that it was used as an insult versus Victoria, and then Candy was like, "That's better than any birthday party I've ever had."
I think I would like to go to a Larsa dog birthday party. I would imagine. I mean, just based on the footage that we saw, it seems like a good time.
Seems like a good time. Seems fun. But the dickmatized thing is interesting because she does not put up any of the guys, and she puts up who you would think would be her best friend in the house, but she just got off playing the Traitors. And she doesn't want to be associated with like a housewife group or have that be a threat to the guys and to the rest of the house that will start to say, oh, the housewives are going to work together, Bravo people are going to work together. And it's also just an excuse, I think, just to put up people that she knows will cause chaos and maybe she thinks are weaker than her and can't come after her. Like maybe she's a little afraid to put up the guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if for those of us that watch traders, and there's a big chunk, there is a thing, there's the Gamers Alliance and there's the Bravo Alliance, and more specifically the Housewives Alliance, and that is a real thing, and it worked against Larsa on the season of Traders that she was on. we've mentioned earlier, all these people, just like on season 1, they're all in their own little bubble that I don't know if anyone on this cast, minus Larsa, and Larsa may not have even finished her season of Traitors. No one in this house has watched Traitors and understands the power of the Bravo/Housewives alliance.
Yes. I will say it didn't work out for Larsa because she also had, her husband at the time, her boyfriend
Yes,
there.
and I think that was the reason that the alliance didn't work for her.
Phaedra, if Trishelle, if Trishelle and CT, we don't have to get too much into it, hadn't decided to really trust each other and they weren't such brilliant gamers, Phaedra, super villain, winner, like brilliant mind, housewife, undetected. So Larsa, yeah, she can use it as an excuse that being a housewife worked against her in the last time she was in a competition for, money, and it did, but it worked against her, not necessarily against all the housewives. And she had her boyfriend or fiance or whoever that person, who I don't even remember, was there, because I think, he was a weak link too. So that was like, she had her own problems.
Yes. So, and I am firmly against couples in competition reality
Rachel
shows.
Riley is going to reach through the screen and strangle you for saying that.
And one-on-one, I like Rachel Riley's chances against me. So no, I mean, I didn't care for it with Boston Rob and Amber, just the multiple times that we've seen situations like this, and I understand Dick and Danielle Donato. We've seen it work both ways. We've seen this being a bond that you can't break, and we've also seen the opposite, where if I need to use this person as a shield and cut bait as soon as I can, Sierra and Laura on Survivor, Sierra voted out her mom.
Or June using it on Big Brother brilliantly, because everybody wanted her out, and the only thing she could do is her ex that she didn't even really like, and initially they wanted each other out first, was hang on to that for to be a floater and win. So it's true. I mean, if it's gonna be all couples, that could be fun, but one couple,
I don't love it. I don't love it. So I understand the reasons for it. I just personally not a fan, but neither here nor there. And real quick on Survivor, we see season after season, and especially in season 47 currently, we have Teenie. Every other sentence that Teenie speaks is, let's do an all-women alliance. Let's do an all-women alliance. Let's do an all-women alliance. And in the history of Survivor, the all-women alliance doesn't work for the most part.
There's been nary a show where that really worked. The closest probably was actually the thing that Larsa's saying was negative, was the housewives sticking together. She had her, to your point, significant other there, which weakened her. But that's the only time I've ever seen any form of a women's alliance really not crumble. The second they say we're making one, this just happened in the last season of Big Brother, this is happening on Survivor and on every Survivor ever. In this house, they're expecting the women to stick together, and now Larsa, we could bring it back to that, is dickmatized because she decided to basically put what could be a strong women's alliance, although too emotional, there's a lot of emotional people there, put all women up. So yeah,
there we have it. So Camilla is all Candy has left, and we see Victoria after the announcement. Victoria is just like, I knew it was going to happen. I don't care. We see an emotional Victoria. At this point, we don't. We see Camilla, who has been game forward this entire time, and the emotions get the best of her. She's upstairs, she's crying, and she explains, she's like, look, I have kids, and I need this for my kids, and that's why she's, and New York's like, what are you doing, girl? This is a game, and you've been gaming. Why are you breaking down right now? So, but it is, with nominations and with voting, it is emotional for some, you can wear your gamer uniform all you want, but inside, no matter who you are, evil Jonny Fairplay, who has this little speck of something that they call a heart, you get your feelings hurt.
Of course. And, I mean, obviously, I always give away your secret that I don't think you're all the villain that people say, because I think there's people you'll protect and people that you will, look, in the end, we all know we're all supposed to turn on each other in a competition show, but,
Yeah.
you have, your things, your code, up until the point where the code is supposed to be broken and
Yes.
and there should be blood.
I'm
But yeah,
Dexter.
yeah, exactly.
I have my code and Tina.
Yeah. But yeah, watching Camilla, who was, I mean, last episode and when she was super villain, just like being ruthless herself, and then suddenly making this switch into the crying and the just like so devastated that she was put up. I mean, maybe she's missing her kid. She's away from her child. I mean, like it sounds like she's a single mom. I understand what that feels like. And to think that this money is in your grasp and you have allies and it will make a much bigger difference in her life. I don't care. Teresa seems to be like living the same life regardless of the fact that she's supposedly paying off her ex's bills, and they still make these huge appearances, and a housewife can get like $100,000 endorsement for just doing, so it's
Yeah,
different.
One Instagram post,
Exactly.
is the same as the winnings on this show. Like it's never like I feel like the social media is more of a focus on season 2. On season 1, I'm literally sitting in the house, like everyone's just like, oh, like more people made more money on Instagram
Yes, and
while they
maybe
were in the
why.
house than
Yeah.
like we filmed during the Super Bowl, and Bobby Lights is like, oh, I'll be right back, I have to film this deal in the front yard, and Rihanna sent Bobby Lights a football jersey to promote that Rihanna was performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, and I
Yeah.
think that was like $100,000, $200,000, Instagram post,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there, holy smokes, this is a lot of money. But B, and more importantly, did anyone not know that Rihanna was doing the Super Bowl halftime show? Because I didn't feel it was a secret.
It's like the extra money just to throw around is so funny about, like, I totally understand what you're saying. Like $100,000 to let people know what they're already aware of. Like, okay. The only way I could justify that is Bobby Light is such a different demographic that they
Sure.
wanted to engage with people that normally wouldn't watch the Super Bowl just so they could watch Rihanna, just so they could sell, so they could predict that they have this many influencers watching the commercials and the halftime, so they could predict some advertising stuff. That's my inside
Yeah.
media baseball. But otherwise, correct. People knew.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
and me and Shake were talking, and Shake's just like, Shake's like, because Shake was keeping tabs on everyone's income
I
and
remember.
side
I can't
project.
imagine how much it must have been off camera, because on camera he was
We,
doing
we
it.
And Shake was so hilarious because he's just like, hey, did you? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm catching. I'm just like, Bobby, I'm just like, that's just the world we live in. And he was like, well, I'm doing pretty good myself. I got a guy that pays me $200 for used vapes. I was like, okay, well, that's pretty close. $100,000 for a Rihanna post and $200 for used vapes to some guy in Oklahoma.
I'm like, dude, you're a veterinarian. Become an animal influencer. I actually thought about like we're so getting off track. When I was realized that he's a veterinarian and that he's not doing that, and I was like, oh my god, I could, if he gave me a portion right now, make Shake so much money that it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like just by being like the expert influencer relationships, that guy, reality vet guy. I was like, he's leaving so much money on the table.
Yeah.
And I was like, it almost made me like have to like it was so obvious that I was like, if he doesn't get it, what? Like how is Shake the one professional,
Yeah, and that's what Jax was preparing to do to help Shake until, Shake used that information against Jax, and it was like, you kind of fucked up there, Shake.
Right, because Jax knows how to be an influencer, but you shouldn't, if you have, even if Jax is erratic or pisses you off or something, if you have the help from somebody who knows how that game is played and stuff, you should take it. So,
Yeah.
which is good advice to give this cast too.
Yes. But Camilla at this point does have a line that I don't appreciate, and this is coming from someone that, as I said, Instagram wise and social media wise, made immensely less money than other people in the house. And Camilla's just like, Wes and Safari don't need the money. That may or may not be true, Camilla. But if that's the case, then they're there to play the game. They're there to win the game. Whether they need the money or not, that's neither here nor there.
This always becomes an argument on every show.
Yes.
This always becomes a debate, and that is just gonna be your personal feelings.
Yeah.
And she's looking at it through the lens of that they don't have kids. You know, not that they not it's not the assumption that they make so much money off their TV shows or how many times Wes has won the challenge. I mean, that probably plays into it a little
Yeah.
because she hasn't been on reality TV in so long, and Safari's been more recent, and Wes keeps getting called back to shows.
Yeah.
But to her, what I think it's like the single mom thing, and then Teresa starts leaning into it too. How they took everything. She went to jail. She has 4 daughters to take care of. That and Victoria leans into the like, I had a terror, which is true. You know, I had a really rough life, and now I owe all these bills. So they're all kind of leading into like, these are women doing that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not going to say all women think that way because some women are just straight gamers and like that doesn't matter. But I think that is something that the women they're arguing over and trying to best each over it because obviously
Yeah.
it does matter to some of them.
Yeah, and Wes does have a kid, so
I did not know that.
and I would not be shocked that Safari's batting 1,000 with his pullout game either. I mean,
Safari may or may not have kids. That's true. Like he probably has one and maybe a few others he doesn't know about. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know, I don't know. So, but yeah, but I will say on Survivor, I'm one of those people where I was always under the premise of Survivor is for $1 million, and it used to be 16 strangers or 18, whatever. And I always saw the $1 million as potentially changing someone's life. I always personally felt that was an unwritten rule. Okay,
Yes.
so with that, if like a few seasons back they had the owner of the Florida Marlins, I'm not going to award the owner of the Florida Marlins $1 million
So you
because
do kind of agree with what Camilla was saying to an extent, although you don't think it applies. I understand. It's like, while it doesn't necessarily, Wes and Safari, even if they're doing well, get on shows, don't own the Florida Marlins. It's a little bit different. But
yeah,
you're at least
and
to
and
deserving.
Survivor is for the most part essentially a bunch of nobodies and not millionaires. So House of Villains, I don't I don't like Safari and the Housewives make this amount of money. Camilla may not be there, but she is a quote unquote celebrity. She has made money at some point, and so I'm throwing out that I have to change someone's life with my vote,
I'm thinking
or
that you're
they
saying,
deserve to win less or more on it, because I feel like once the celebrity tag is attached, that subtracts the any of this will change your life, even though it could and would. It doesn't matter.
I have a feeling it would genuinely change her life more than it would change Western Safari. I
Oh,
think that
absolutely.
Yeah, and so that does give me some sort of sympathy because I do have the same framework. Like, if
Yeah.
it's going to come down to this, and these are the people getting to the end, whose life would this change? And some people, $200,000, even though when you take out the tax, less, whatever. I mean, some people, if they're
It's
on a reality show,
$12,000 for those of you wondering. After taxes, it's 12.
well, I guess, do they take it out just from that prize, or do they combine it with the rest of your income, or is it just straight prize money like a lotto? Because it's
Uh, I would imagine the House of Villains has the same deal as Survivor in that the prize is considered
it's a game show prize.
it's a game show prize, or like a quote unquote gift tax, or like a
Yeah.
luxury tax, and that's like 35% off the top.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I understand you can make the arguments either way, but I understand that like if somebody is going their life is going to be changed, which it could be by that amount of
Yeah,
money, which is hard to wrap your head around with celebrities because people think that you always continue to make that money, but the Bravo people and people from different shows have much bigger social media, people that have been on shows more recently, people that have shows focused on a tighter cast where there's like 6 people it mainly focuses on. Those people get paid more, they make more money. It depends on the network. It's so all over the map. So if she was on Bear Girls Club a long time ago,
yeah,
and then went to like a regular job and did her appearances for like a year or two, that money's gone, and now has a
yeah.
kid, whatever. So I'll defend her there a little bit, especially against Teresa.
So, uh, uh, at this point, Larsa tells Teresa she's cool. Wes really wants Camilla out, and it's the next morning, and we see Wes and Safari waking up, and Safari refers to Wes as a diva because he wears earplugs to bed, and Wes counters with, "Dude, you're literally wearing Versace PJs."
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like earplugs make you a diva. Like I go to bed with earphones in. I listen to podcasts to go to bed too.
Right.
Typically Dateline. You would think I would listen to my own voice. I do not. Um,
Soothing sound of your own voice lulling you to sleep.
I'm a Keith Morrison guy. I like to go to bed to hear a nice well.
Also, look, if you're in, when I went into the Apprentice house, got a prescription written for Ambien and brought earplugs because I was like, this is serious. I want to compete. And Ambien doesn't work on me. I learned at all. So that didn't work, but I did it.
You could have sold them, made a nice little side hustle, and then been rewarded for your your business savvy while in the house.
I know people told me about that, about taking an Ambien and staying awake and tripping. So every time I've taken an Ambien, I stay awake and I feel nothing. So I didn't believe it, but now I'm like, darn it, 20 years ago, whenever that was, I could have made whatever. No, but that is a good point. Earplugs, it seems like it's less diva-esque when you are just trying to sleep. Like it doesn't, I don't know.
I don't feel Wes has any trouble sleeping. We literally see him later in the episode at 12:46 p.m. still asleep. So
I know. I wrote that down. I was laughing. I was like, he's like this big gamer and trying to talk to everyone. That makes me think though that he feels so comfortable in his ability to manipulate and game people that he can just go back to bed and sleep till 1 or 2, which they've already complained about. I
think Wes is. I think we're not seeing it, but I feel like Wes is doing his damage at night as far as gameplay. If at all, I mean, like, as I said, he comes from the same school as Johnny Bananas. It's once you lock in an alliance, you don't overly discuss it. That's it. We're done. And so, maybe he's just like, I've got this locked in. And until I feel anything coming against me, like a Camilla or whatever, I don't need to do anything.
Right. Then again, now he wants Camilla out and sleeping till 1.
It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer. And I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen. Sign up right now for free. Link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
By the way, Candy is nauseous because she's taken her Ozempic, which I thought was great. We see that.
And Larsa's walking around the house explaining to everyone it's just a game. Larsa, you are correct, but people don't like to hear that.
No, especially your good friends. And she's going back and forth because she's telling Teresa, I've got you. Don't worry. It's not you. It was for appearances. It's because it looked, she gives her the BS about the traders, which is where I was going with that. Saying, oh, it didn't work out for it to look that way. You're still I still love you. Hugs her. But then also says it's just a game and gets feisty with her, and it's like, it's a game, we're all here to win. So it's like kind of reflecting back to what you said before. People have like one peaceful nice moment, and then like 5 minutes later it's like the exact opposite, and they hate each other and they're saying the opposite thing to each other.
Yes. Larsa says that Victoria's tacky. It's a little mean. And next we hear from Eva 2.0, and she's like, hey, the redemption's coming up. And she mentions the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion, which Eva 2.0 is a part of. No one catches the clue at this point.
I couldn't
Later
believe
in the
that. I
episode,
couldn't believe the
uh,
housewives didn't like freak out and catch that.
yeah, and later in the episode, like Eva 2.0 is like, "Hey, do you recognize my voice?" And we have Teresa going, "No, absolutely not." Do you think Teresa even watches her Real Housewives episodes?
Yeah, only. I think Teresa's like in her own world entirely. I think Teresa probably has watched her own, but
Probably watches with the
Teresa,
girls.
yeah, maybe with the girls, but now that they're older, I think they probably used to watch like as a cast when they were friendly, and now the cast has changed so much, and now whatever that I don't know. I would believe she has watched at least the beginning of of it, but Teresa just it's so strange because I always thought Teresa was like that like the blue collar smart, you know what I mean, where it's
Yeah,
like okay, like she's savvy. I thought she was savvy, but now
yeah.
but she's really coming across as just like totally clueless on this show on House of Villains. It's like, wow.
Yeah, she's a housewife that doesn't clean. We find out. So before they leave for the redemption challenge, they are given villains Letterman jackets. And if you follow any of these villains on social media, you see Victoria going to her storage locker and finding this jacket. She wants to wear it for this week. I love the villains Letterman jacket. I'm very jealous.
Yeah.
So.
Only the three of them got it too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
those are cute.
I see them getting their jackets on, and then they're about to leave, and I see Wes sitting on the couch, and I'm just like, Wes, come on, be a team player. I'm like, oh, only the three people up for elimination get the jackets. So I'm like, well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. But those
So,
were super cute. I liked it. It was a nice touch.
yeah,
Um I liked them I liked that they announced the redemption challenge is going back to school and that it's Villains High School.
Villains High School. It's the redemption challenger where at Villains High School, the beginning is a 90210 ripoff. So it's I love this because I'm a as you see behind me, I'm a big wrestling fan. And growing up, there was WWF, which later became WWE, and then their competition in the 90s was WCW. Well, there was this guy, the mouth to sell Jimmy Hart.
I
He
remember
used
him.
to be Okay, he used to be the bad guy manager, and then he was with Hulk Hogan. Well, in WCW, they would not pay for copywritten material. And Jimmy Hart used to be in the band The Gentrys. He performed on American Bandstand back in the day. They had a top 10 hit, may have even been number one. And Jimmy Hart was one of the producers on the wrestling albums and stuff back in the day. And so when Jimmy Hart was in WCW, Diamond Dallas Page used to come to the ring, and it'd be like self high five. And then his song was a ripoff of Smells Like Teen Spirit with one chord changed every eighth note.
That's so
And,
funny.
and then like I think Ravens was Keep Them Separated or whatever with one note change. Like all these wrestlers came out with every on the eighth note was changed, one little thing, so they didn't have to pay for the music, and it was obviously so I was just like, this is a pretty good 90210 ripoff.
Right.
I'm like, did you guys call Jimmy Hart for this one?
Yeah, right out of the playbook. Yeah, they definitely did like the good the good entry, and it seemed you felt the 90210-ness, and then of course then we see Tori Spelling, so it
Well,
all
hold
makes
on. Getting back to the intro. So
oh,
if this is the if the if say uh Camilla is Brenda, and Victoria is Jenny Garth, whatever her name was. Does that make Teresa Andrea Zuckerman?
oh gosh. Well, that would make sense because Andrea Zuckerman was like, I know they all were older
40.
playing younger, but she was like 40 years old playing the teenager. So that
Yeah,
is funny. If they put her in that place in the lineup, then that's like extra clever editing. So kudos to the producers of
yeah.
House of Villains for that.
That's all I ever thought. I was wondering if Andrea Zuckerman had blackmail photos on the producer, because I was just like, you guys do see a difference between her and everyone else, you know? And she would, and like, even more than that, like, you know, I think she blackmailed them to get the part, but they're just like, okay, well, we got to get her back. And it's just like, you know, everyone's doing, it's like, hey guys, you want to have a study party? And they're like, no, like, what's the study? Like, you know,
Right.
Dylan McKay has to do black tar heroin somewhere. We don't have time to study.
Yeah. Oh, and also Camilla named her dog Dylan after Dylan.
Was it her dog or her daughter? I thought she said her daughter.
Or was it her daughter? Oh gosh, it was her daughter, I think. After Dylan McKay, that's so funny.
Yes.
For some reason, my brain couldn't accept that it was her daughter, not her dog.
Yeah, I remember in college, 90210 was still big when I was in college, and I used to do, like, I'd go to party and I would do impressions of Dylan McKay and Brandon Walsh. So I do the Brenda. Anyway, but yes. All right, so it is Villain's Detention, and Misspelling is our teacher. Is our teacher for the day. Did she embrace Tori Spelling? Did she embrace this or what?
Oh yeah, she went full like sexy hot for teacher, acting, leaning into it like she's mean, but playing the sexy teacher, but gonna spank you with a ruler, but giving you the rules. Like she was performing. It was great.
She was. This is one of my favorite people, like, because, you know, last season we had Carol Baskin, and like, and literally when we finished, you know, they were just like, "Hey, you're done," and she's like, "Am I done?" And she was just like, they're like, "You're done." She's like, "Thank God." Like, she was so ready for it to be over.
Well, that's because she's like, if I say one wrong word or one wrong thing, I'm going to jail forever for feeding someone to a tiger. So
yes, and you do have Bobby Lights like repeatedly asking, followed by Johnny. So,
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
did you kill your husband?
Out of there. She's like razor thin away from, you know, more investigation. So Bobby Light's like antagonizing her, and she's like, "Bye,
bye." Yep. So,
but,
yeah.
but I remember you had Spencer there who tried to get into it, and they kind of gave him some stuff. Spencer Pratt, like you guys were kind of like gave him a "Who are you?" I love the Spencer Pratt character, but
that was good.
Tori Spelling, but nobody really leaned into it quite as much as you see Tori Spelling full on, like, just giving a performance.
Yeah. Well, Spencer Pratt, like, he comes there, like, he walks in, he's like, "Who's this Stash guy, and why does everyone hate him?" And we're like, his name's Shake, but from now on, his name is Stash. Thank you so much, Spencer. We appreciate this. Candy brings a gift to the teacher. It is an apple, and Tori Spelling, misspelling, if you will. I love the misspelling. I think that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that didn't get it, misspelling.
Yes.
And for those of you that still don't get it, misspelling. Okay.
Misspelling and also misspelling a word.
Yes. Misspelling instructs Candy to take a bite of the apple and spit it into her mouth. Holy smolies.
I was like, what? And then Candy does it. And I think, like, I assumed like that Tori Spelling was going to actually bring out that ruler and go, "Are you kidding? Get out of here." But instead, he gets baby birded by Candy.
Yes. Did not have that on my 2024 bingo card.
No.
Candy, Candy baby birding Tori Spelling.
Yeah. Candy the drag queen, while misspelling is in a great drag queen name, Tori Spelling, getting baby birded an apple on TV at her request.
At her request.
At least she spit it out, though, because I was like, if she's that helped me stomach it a little better. But that was I was shocked by how shocked I was by that.
Yeah. So way to lean in. So our redemption challenge today is erase to escape, and there are names written in chalk all over the school, whether it be on desks, bathroom walls, or stickers on lockers. If you look, Jonny Fairplay's name, they have every single villain that has ever played, you know, whether it be myself, Johnny Bananas, from Shake, Jax from the previous cast or the current cast. Their names are everywhere, whether it be stickers or written in chalk or whatever, everywhere. Did you notice a name missing?
No, who was missing?
Omarosa's name was not to, was
Maybe don't get into litigation with the producers.
I don't know about anything you're talking about. I'm just
You
saying.
didn't say it. I said it.
I saw no Omarosa name anywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Saw you right up front and center, though. I mean, like, that was very noticeable. When they panned over to show all the names, you were right in the middle, like, in pink or whatever. All caps.
Yeah.
I did not notice they did not have Omarosa. That she could have just been simply out of frame, or maybe, it had to do with issues she had with production.
Yeah.
That she created with production.
Whew. All right. So we see Tori licking the ruler at some point, and Teresa's having difficult finding her name because she needs LASIK. Larsa, who is just as old as Sandra Diaz-Twine, it's a Trader's reference. Look it up. It's insane. Larsa did have LASIK prior to coming to the house. Teresa did not. She will be getting it immediately following filming of House of Villains.
Now that she says she can't see, I think on the way out of the house, either Victoria or Camilla, one of them says, "I'm going to grab my glasses," which was smart. I don't think they obviously knew what it was going to be, but they were like school and associated with glasses, and it accidentally ended up helping them because they needed them. Somebody said it.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to Camilla and Victoria. One name left. Victoria wins. Here's a crazy thing. For those of you that watch our coverage of Survivor podcast, are one of the competing podcast networks, which I'm a huge fan of, the Survivor Specialist with Phil and Will. Will was a producer on Survivor and left Survivor and is a challenge producer here on House of Villains. And you see Will in the last hallway scene when Victoria's finding her last sticker. I was like, hey, there's Will. So everybody, if you do like Survivor, check out our coverage, of course, but check out the Survivor Specialist with Phil and Will. I'm a big fan, and Will is a producer on the show.
Cool. Fun little Easter egg.
Yeah. I like seeing the people I know and especially like. There's a big difference between just know.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah. So, so Victoria wins, and Victoria explains she's basically the valedictorian, and in the end, we would be remiss if we did not stop if we didn't finalize this with a letter to Misspelling and an ode to The Breakfast Club, one of my favorite movies of all time. And the princess, and so we have a big brother.
Inside, we're all just a princess or rebel or whatever, but they did it in the same 90210
Breakfast Club
off by a note, not copyright infringement way. That was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I wore my growing up, like 16 Candles and Breakfast Club and those were my those were my comfort foods by way of movies as a kid. So I was and little known fact, 16 Candles, Anthony Michaels Hall character, they called him Farmer Ted. That was my nickname in junior high.
Really?
Yes.
From the movie?
Yes.
It's so funny.
So yes, I went from Lucas, the Corey Haim movie, to Farmer Ted, to Fred the Man. And Fred was the dog in Smokey and the Bandit.
That is a weird trajectory, Fairplay.
I do know. I feel like I was either doing something really good or I was really wrong. I don't know, but those are the nicknames. But Farmer Ted was a short-lived nickname in junior high. So, all right. So it is Larsa and Wes want Camilla out. Larsa's chatting with Safari, and she was just like, you're doing what I'm saying, right? And he's like, well, I'm not sure. And she's like, well, you can do what you want, but you best not go against the house. And we hear this threat repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
This is I was just gonna say from the car home, Larsa warning, don't go against the house. And you get in there, don't go against the house, which is a very big brotherish thing, not usually a House of Villains thing, but it's
yeah,
become this season more of a House of a little more fear about going against the house.
yeah. So we have
Um,
fear mongering as a theme of the season. Who knew?
yes,
So
yes. I know Candy does try to make an effort though, goes to Jesse and says, look, we can get some numbers, we can save my ally Camilla, we could shift the house, but you know, Jesse is
he's
probably
Sweden.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or he's Switzerland. He's
yeah.
Switzerland.
He acting like it, but yes,
Acting, yes. At this point, he's Switzerland. All right,
yeah.
so Victoria's going to throw a slumber party, everybody. And for those of you that don't know, we are stuck in this house. It's not like we can
Oh,
leave
right.
at any time,
Yeah.
So when production is just like, hey, we'll
Dan.
play some real music and you guys can actually have fun, we're all in. So
Right.
like we set the game aside. We're listening to real music, not like they there's a there's
Yeah, they put
the
on their own music over it,
yeah.
but you guys are listening to music you actually like.
Yes, and production does a really good they're not playing, it's not like they let my mom DJ. It's like last season, we're literally like waiting in a room, so they're just like, because Bobby did the pride party downstairs, and it's just like, okay, everybody get ready and we'll tell you when you can go downstairs. And they're like, when can we
Yeah.
go downstairs? And we're waiting and waiting and waiting. They're like, you'll know. So finally, we're sitting there like losing our minds, and over the loudspeakers, like we hear Eva throughout the house. We hear wet ass pussy, and we're like, it's so
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, they were correct. We do know now that that's on.
yes. So and
That's
the fact that production, as their first song is, we're just like, oh, this is gonna be a good party.
yeah, yeah.
So
That makes a lot of sense, especially with Bobby Light and the cast that appreciating it. And you could tell in this one, I knew it was kind of a similar thing because they're like, I don't want to go to it's Victoria, so they're like going to ignore her and they don't really want to do it. But then all of a sudden you see them in like some like animal costumes and you can tell they're a little maybe drunker than they were before and they're dancing. And I'm like, all right, so this production swooped in and didn't make them, but was like, all right, actually, you guys, we will play music for you, give you some drinks, give you a good time. It's prefaced as Victoria's sleepover party, but it's really like, no, just have a good time.
yes. So and we do see a little bit of game talk. Teresa and Camilla, they're playing for their kids.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, no more game talk for now. We're done. It's time for a pillow fight. So as much as we love listening to real music, we also love making messes. So that is a villain trait through and through. And so for the pillows with the feathers and to make as big a mess as possible, that's what I'm here for.
Yes. Seems very fun when you don't have to clean it up and they're like, we want a pillow fight, go crazy. That seems
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So no, there's people that clean that up for you. It's great.
Yeah.
So the next morning we see Teresa. She has to pack. So for those of you that haven't caught this, because I don't think they overly drive this point home, but if you're one of the two people up for elimination, when you're eliminated, you go through the wall. You don't go back into the house to get your shit.
It's the same as The Apprentice, how we leave in a taxi. We had to actually pack our bag every boardroom that we were in.
Yeah.
And all of us did. So the
Oh,
losing
okay.
team,
Well, this is at least
because you
limited to
never know
two.
what happens. He could do a wild firing because it's Trump. It's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So as we have grown to even know more, Donald Trump will, say what he thinks and have a whim. And if, in the boardroom, which actually I thought he was really super smart in the boardroom about figuring out what was kind of BS. But every once in a while, he'd be like, you know what? Even though you weren't even in the line of fire, that was a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
I would never hire you. You're fired. So that's why they made everybody on the losing team who had to go to the boardroom pack. So we had to pack every time and then unpack.
Oh, what a pain in the ass. I mean, because especially you guys on The Apprentice, you're there to play the role of a professional.
Yes.
And part of that role is the attire, your clothing.
Not having a wrinkled suit that you have to keep throwing into suitcase every few days. Well, we won the first I think it was like 6 weeks. We couldn't be beat. They had to split the other team to fight each other and then switch somebody off of our team. We didn't lose. We could not lose until they took away somebody. First had the other team fight. They just didn't even, they did an episode, which was hilarious, of us at a spa luxuriating. Well, because Trump got so fed up with us winning that he said he doesn't even want us to compete. He wants to see who out of them is the weak link. Somebody from there goes home, then they poach someone from our team because we're never going to lose. I'm telling we would never have lost. But that being said, a lot of us were thinking of that. We're like we have to then slap together our stuff, look professional, look buttoned up. Most of us are going back. There's a lot of attorneys and marketing people, executives. They're going back into this real world. So yeah, having to repack and pack and sleeping up. We stayed up overnight. People would always wonder why people were acting dumber or looked like shit. Well, it's because when you do a task, you don't go home and sleep and continue it the next day. You stay up the 24 to 48 hours. So that was very not a good look for professionals.
No. We see Victoria and Larsa hanging out, and New York's like, "What are you doing? You guys hate each other. You're not allowed to hang out even for 2 minutes." Camilla wants Jesse's vote because Teresa has money, and I'm like, okay. At this point, we see Wes sleeping at 12:46 p.m.
Yes.
And Teresa had earlier in the day told Victoria that New York is going to be her target, and this is just literally just roommate talk, because Victoria's like, "Hey, if I win, I'm going to put you up," and she's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding," and I don't think Victoria was kidding, but it is what it is. And so Victoria tells New York. And I'm just like, okay, well, this should go well. And
when she did that, I was like, I understand for House of Villains, but Victoria didn't do it intentionally to be a villain. She just did it, and then said,
she did it because New York had a premonition because New York. That she would be gone in 3 days, and she was just like, well, just a heads up, my roommate, who I'm being cool with right now, let me throw her under the bus because in 3 days Teresa could be supervillain of the week. She will be putting you up and you will be going home, so be aware of all. And I'm like, what is happening here?
Well, first of all, this premonition thing, since it has held up, if you're Victoria and New York had that premonition, there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
So why are you telling her? Although I guess maybe she's not going to be an ally. She's going to go home, and she's going to go home anyway, so you can't warn her and stop it. If her premonitions are true, then this makes less sense for Victoria. It's like, just shut up and don't align with her because she's going home.
Yeah. So, and the fact that she said that we see the premonition, I think this could be next week could be a very bad episode for us. Reddit's going to lose their minds again, possibly.
I will too. I want New York on every episode. If she gets flipped through the wall, they better flip her ass right back through.
Yeah. We're down to 8. No, we're not.
Yeah.
So, well, New York, she does not like this information that she's obtained from Victoria. So she confronts Teresa, and she was like, "Hey, all those roses you got from Louis, your husband? They represent someone he's been sleeping with since you've been away." And I was like,
every one of those flowers represents every time he cheated on you. Oh my God.
So, and then she's doing the pelvic thrust, chanting Louis.
Yeah, Louis. I'm like, oh my God.
Holy moly.
Yes.
No, there is no. Well, I would say there's going to be no group text between those two, but obviously not, because at the end, Teresa, New York has deleted Teresa's number from her phone.
Oh yeah, all right. Who cares? And she says, "Who cares? I didn't expect you to call." It's like so hilarious. It's fine. Then you get the "Welcome to New York, New Jersey" from New York, which I really appreciated.
You can see my painting in the background during that. I was pretty excited about that.
I flashed you quickly, yes.
Yeah, I had my name all over the school, and then there's my painting in the hallway beside Bobby Lights' painting. So I like that. And Victoria, she's upset because she admits to Teresa that she did tell New York this information. However, Victoria's on the impression she had confidentiality, and I'm just like, why would you think that?
If there was no confidentiality during the first discussion with New York, why would you now have confidentiality with Teresa?
Because it was premonition based, I think, is Victoria's. Premonition-based confidentiality is something completely different, but it is not. So Teresa is walking around the house explaining that guys are better than girls. She too may have been digmatized at this point, and she says that the guys are all a fresh of breath air.
Well, that also is because she's not in the middle of fighting with them, and because that's all her possibility, maybe to have left are the guys. It's like a last ditch effort. If she knows that she's fighting with New York, she can't trust Victoria. Larsa she can't trust because she put her up. Maybe the guys will see her as like this mother figure / like, oh, I trust you guys. I've been cooking for you. Albeit the food apparently,
Well,
it's a ditch. It's like an effort.
Yeah, but you think Teresa would have realized the 8th time she said "fresh of breath air" that she was saying it incorrectly?
Wrong. Oh yeah, yes.
But no.
At one point, I wondered if they were like Franken editing it, because they did that like sometimes on my season. They had somebody repeat something they didn't, and I was like, no, she really keeps saying it.
Yes, over and over and over. So, we see Mr. Spectacular. This is a big moment for him, and I think I think he wanted to work this in at some point, but didn't want to work this in when he was on the block or on the quote unquote hit list.
Yes, and I think this is a lead up to him possibly becoming a character on the show, because he's right now.
Welcome aboard, Jesse. We heard you were playing this season. Maybe we'll see it starting next week.
I thought you were on House of Villains. We had a whole interview about it. A great interview about it.
Yeah.
Are you? But yeah.
Yes.
It's like he's gotten his game face on, like the alter ego. He's got his Sasha Fierce, his Slim Shady, his Mr. Spectacular. He's coming out as this, which I feel like is a hint that he is going to start breaking out as, because he did give us
going home.
Yeah. Well, he gave us some inside information that there is a moment.
Yes.
And he claims it's big, and he says that, he really comes out of whatever. So I don't, obviously, when he was lifting the desk with Tori Spelling and doing all that, like he's definitely, working in his brand and his body, and maybe perhaps this was just him wanting to do that. But it also could be hinting that we're going to get more Jesse on the show, which I hope.
Well, we're down to 8 people, and half an episode now. We have a few episodes left. All right, so Teresa says New York can suck her left titty. However, she will not enjoy it, and I'm just like, okay. I
hated that phrase always.
I don't. I was just envisioning. I was just like, wow, like that. That never entered my stratosphere of thought, but now I can't stop thinking about it. That possibly is in my browser history at this point. We'll get there. Safari reassures Camilla that he is voting to keep his Black Queen. I don't think he did. Do we know who the 2 votes?
We do. Candy.
Yes, we know Candy.
We don't know, which could be a point of contention because they brought up don't vote against the House.
Yeah.
I hope we find out.
I think we will find out. This cast is too sloppy not to admit their mistake. Well, Victoria is.
Victoria giving away everything, and I thought it was confidential. And then
Victoria starts most of her conversations with, "These are the last 4 of my social security number. Let's go."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally just not. And
here's a random phrase that I need to remember for security purposes. Can I just tell you guys real quick? Sure.
Yeah. Here's the password to everything, and just take it. So,
I only have one password. I do not have different passwords for different accounts. So, and it is her name. So it is the 3rd banishment ceremony, and as Joel remarks, there are still 9 of them. And Joel said he received a text. He's like, "Is there anything we should know about a dog birthday party?" And yes, it is fully explained and vented upon. And then Joel explains, for those of you paying attention at home, it says housewife versus bad girl. Don't Google that. And I'm like, Joel literally knows my private internet history.
Yeah. I was like, more of your browser history being revealed. And
there we go. Who knew? Camilla, in her last words, calls out Wes as the ringleader. And
Mhm.
Wes says, yes, there is indeed a ring. I'm not the leader. And Camilla says, as pointed out by the leader of the ring. Teresa is Teresa and New York have the deletion of their phone numbers exchange. While all this is happening, and this is really good TV, Jesse is just flexing the
Yeah.
entire time.
You see the pecs going and yeah, just posing like almost
Yeah.
like Mr. Universe style, just standing there. Yeah.
Yes, and based on what I related to everyone that's been watching this podcast since the beginning, the stronghold is in the backyard. And last season, it was just a tent. It was freezing cold. It sucked. It has been brought to my attention this season. There is an actual roof on the stronghold. It is an actual building, not just a tent, and they have heat.
Right.
So,
Making it
yes.
possible.
So Jesse is not flexing to stay warm. He is flexing because he loves to flex.
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
Okay. So just wanted to point that out. And Joel straps in our 2 hit list remaining nominees and tells them both that they are his favorites. Very Joel move on brand. I love it. And with a vote of 4-2, Camilla is voted out. Candy gives her a big hug. Joel says, please back up. We cannot put 2 people through the wall. The chairs are really doing everything they can with 1. And for those of you that don't know, it's a hydraulic lift system. It is very fast and powerful. It
It
is.
looks like it.
It
Remember Remote Control on MTV?
yeah.
And you got flipped through the wall?
Yeah.
That was my dream in life, was like when I was younger, was like to go, that was the game show I wanted to go on.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
wanted to flip through the wall. So when I saw House of Villains, they were doing kind of like that throwback to the flip through the wall. I was like, yes. And I was wondering how many people remembered Remote Control. And I was like, that's cool. I love it.
That's so great. When I was a kid, I wanted to go through the wall too. And then fast forward, 50 years old, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm old. Don't fucking put me through that wall. My heart can't take it.
Dreams came true, but way later.
Not so much. Yes. So, we do get a final confessional from Camilla. She explains that Wes is a bitch. And then Joel explains, hey, go back to the house. Tori Spelling is back. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it is. I think that's why they said it. And next time on House of Villains, there's a bloodbath. And Wes apparently does the most villainous thing in the history of the house. We'll see about that.
So he
And
said.
I feel as though, based on what we see in the preview, that Candy is his pawn.
Yeah, we see bloodbath. We see they're in like those hazmat suits, and then there's a Wes has to go. That was from Candy, right?
Yes.
I have the quote Wes has to go, but I didn't attribute to somebody, and then I have Wes proclaiming, wait a minute, Wes to Candy, I come here bearing information. So never mind, Wes pulls Candy aside and gives some sort of secret. I don't know if it backfires or works, but it's obviously diabolical, probably not true or something, because then you see Wes saying he's done the most villainous move ever. So I'm very curious to see what that is.
Well,
And
he's
I'm also curious to see if New York's premonition comes true.
Yes, and Wes is well rested to make this move, so there is that.
Yes, that is true. Wes has been getting earplugs and plenty of late sleep.
Yes, so I thought this was a great episode. I kind of liked last week better, just because it was the first time that we saw the like. I feel like this episode was a continuation of last week. So, it's not like I like this any less, but last week was the first episode of holy moly, claws are out. These people don't like each other. This is a completely different show than last season. And I love that it's different. And this was just continuation of that. So I thought it was great. I think the season is great. But for me, like just the start of claws out, just ranks a little higher.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. And while I also love the whole 90210 thing, I love that they were at the school. I think they could have condensed the actual gameplay and them searching that to get a little bit more of the fighting and tension in the house. So that would have been fine. But this was a great episode. But I understand what you mean, because the last one was just, even though there was still, competition, it was so focused on the drama and how delicate situations are and the rivalries that it was excellent TV.
Yeah. So, all right. So with that, Jenn Hoffman, where can everybody find you?
On Instagram and TikTok, which I might start messing around with at Jenn Hoffman High. You can also find me if you subscribe to this YouTube channel. You might see me pop up and doing some other podcasts, one with Rachel Riley, Reality Queen. So that's youtube.com/aftershow. What about you?
I'm at Jonny Fairplay on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I guess it's facebook.com/Fairplay or /Jonny Fairplay. Anyway, on TikTok, I'm at Fairplay Talk, TOK. And you can find me November 13th in Durham, North Carolina at Clouds Brewcade. I am hosting a Survivor viewing party. Tickets available at survivortix.com. That's survivortix.com. I will also be at Over the Edge weekend, the first weekend in December. That's also the beginning of me filming my new show starting that weekend. And as a result of that, on tour with TV cameras there, I will be December 11th in Cincinnati, Ohio. Tickets will soon be available on survivortix.com. And then December 18th, I will be hosting the official Survivor finale viewing party at Jax's Bar, which we've seen on episode 1 or episode 2, one of those episodes. I think episode 2 of House of Villains season 2, and the unofficial Survivor after party. So if you know what that means the people from the cast is going to be there. Tickets will be free for the Jackson's thing. We will have VIP tables available. You get there. There'll be an email address available. All that you just have to go to survivortix.com and RSVP that you're going to be there. But yeah, December 11th and 18th. And November 13th, Survivor viewing parties, me filming a new show, all this craziness, survivortix.com. And lastly, Survivors have this big cameo contest for the greatest Survivor on Cameo. And I keep ending up in the top 10 for some reason, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Cameo.com/Jonny Fairplay. I have a lot of fun with these cameos. I start, I'll peek behind the curtain. I start in that corner over there. I got a Jeff Probst stand up with a mullet wig, work my way in front of the Survivor flag. We got the grandma tombstone. It's a lot of fun. I make them very personal, very fun. So that is cameo.com/Jonny Fairplay. And that is it for me. So Jen, thank you so much. Everybody, thanks for watching. Until next week. Bye, everybody.